Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center, man. As you can see by the title, we're going to be taking another look at that 2025 recruiting class coming out of the state of Louisiana. And for this video, we have Mr. Whitten Van Hoy. He's a 6'6", 300-pound offensive lineman that played for Benton High School. Very big kid, very, very big kid. He might be the biggest one that I've covered so far out of the 2025 recruiting class coming out of Louisiana. So he's committed to TCU. 24/7 Sports has him ranked as a 3-star recruit with an 87 player rating. I only seen one college offer from 24/7 Sports, and that was obviously from TCU, but it could have been other teams that offered him or that was interested in him. They just didn't really put it on there, or it could have been just because as soon as he got the offer, he pretty much committed. So other teams knew like, well, there ain't no sense in even trying to reach out to him because he kind of got his mind made up about things. So for his high school athletic background, all it had on there was that he competes in track and field, shot put, and discus. It doesn't really give me specific distances or whatever for him throwing. So it just shows that he did play shot put. He did throw a shot put and a distance at track. So Gabe Brooks didn't have an evaluation, so I put together my own evaluation. So we're going to jump into the Rob's evaluation segment. And pretty much what I put down is that Whitten Van Hoy is a 6'6", 300-pound offensive lineman who played for Benton High School. By the way, Benton High School is 5 acres. I believe they're in the same district as Shreve, Bird, and all the guys that's in that Huntington, all them that's in that same division. He is a mountain of a young man who can line up as a left tackle or right tackle. I think the biggest thing about him that schools look at is his upside. Like the reason why I said this because, just watching him on film, I really didn't see too much of anything that just stood out to me to make me say, okay, this kid is the best offensive lineman in this recruiting class, or even probably and even next year's recruiting class. Watching on film, there was not really anything that majorly stands out to me in terms of his physicality, athleticism, and technique. But technique can be taught. What he has in size, you can't learn. There was a play I saw him going up against there were plays that I saw him going up against linebackers or defensive backs, and he kind of struggled to win that battle. Watching him, he looks a little uncoordinated at times, and that could be because of his size and frame. So you got to take that into consideration. One thing that did stand out on a few plays was his effort, whether it was him continuing to block for his QB after a broken play, or it was him continuing to run down the field behind the ball carrier. That type of effort you don't see from guys that may be more talented than him. And you always know one thing that I always speak about in every single video, and one thing that I will continue to preach to anybody, whether you're at the high school level, college level, NFL level, is effort. Because effort is free. Effort is one of those things that you don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to be the most physically gifted, but to give effort, play in and play out. So I think that was something that kind of stood out to me more so than anything else. I would love to see his development in the future if he can perfect his craft in run blocking and pass protection to go along with his size. He will be a force to be reckoned with. So I think that he does have potential based off his size. Obviously, he's a big kid, and I think that if he get put with the right offensive lineman coach or the right program, I think that they could possibly develop him, and he could be a very dangerous player to deal with. So I kind of put like what makes a good offensive lineman. So I'm gonna kind of just touch on that briefly. On there I put, and I'm gonna kind of just highlight the key things. I ain't gonna just go through and read everything. I'm gonna just kind of highlight the key things. And it pretty much was a good offensive lineman possesses a combination of size, strength, agility, intelligence, and the ability to work cohesively with their teammates to protect the quarterback and open running lanes. Now, I will say that there were a few amount of plays that he was able to double team with another lineman and get a block and push a guy downfield and create potential running lanes. I think that from watching him too, I don't think that they had the best offensive line cohesively. So a lot of times you look at, he might have made a pretty decent block, but the quarterback still got sacked, or the ball carrier still got a minimum gain, but that wasn't necessarily on him. I think as an offensive, as a whole, as a unit, they wasn't necessarily the best. And I think obviously communication has to go into you being able to double team a quarterback. You can't just double team without ever, you have to be communicative and say, okay, if they give us this look, or if he lines up here, we're going to double team here for this be the point of attack, and we're going to push downfield to try to create running lanes for our ball carrier. Physical attributes, he has to have pretty good size and strength. He got size. Like I say, strength is one of those things that I didn't necessarily see. And it could be just because of hand placement too. It could be just he wasn't getting proper hand placement, which didn't allow for him to really get the push that he necessarily needed a lot of times. So that could be also one of those things. They have to have agility and quickness. Agility, like I say, he kind of looks uncoordinated at times, and obviously with a bigger frame frame, that possibly could be that. So sometimes the bigger the offensive lineman, you kind of hurt in other areas. Footwork and flexibility, like even in pass protection, his footwork was one of those things where I kind of was just like, I feel like he could be better. I feel like with going up against a defensive lineman that has a better quick first step, or even they could bull rush, can kind of throw him off balance and give him problems. Length, being able to to use your long arms as an advantage. Obviously, by him being 6'6", you see that he has that bend. Being able to bend and get low to maintain good leverage is essential. And I think that's obviously something else he can work on too. Also, you have to have intelligence and football IQ you need to understand the game, recognize defensive schemes, and make quick decisions on the field. Communication and teamwork. That's one of the things that I spoke about with the double team. Work ethic and toughness. So I don't know his work ethic. That would be one of the things we would have to talk to coaches and teammates to figure out. And toughness. I can't really speak on that because I just didn't see just a high level of competition, that he was going against. Short-term memory, being able to forget plays, especially if you just got beat the previous play. Technique and skills. Obviously, you got to be able to block in the pass, and you got to be able to run block, and then balance and stand on their feet. And there was a lot of times that, in the process of him kind of pushing the guy down, or, it wasn't necessarily like it was a pancake. It's like he kind of went down with the guy in terms of, but it wasn't him going on top of the guy. It was just them kind of falling down on the side level, like I said, kind of giving him resistance. But I think the biggest thing with him is kind of his upside, being that he's 6'6", 300 pounds. I think that's what, TCU probably was looking at and saying, well, hey, this kid got this, all that stuff, which can be developed. Yeah, just spending time on working on your craft, watching film, and, obviously all those other things that can be maintained. So, I'm interested to see his transition on the next level and see how things work out for him going up there at TCU. But, man, as if for this video, if you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, click that post notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time I upload, man. And I'll see y'all in the next video.